RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ. And today, the day of coins, the party enters into the city state. It seems like people from the wide world, from places far away, have come here to barter, trade, to buy things never seen before. Or maybe on the day of coins, today is the day where things can be purchased that are forbidden, decadent, maybe even um, something that can put a permanent scar on the soul. Or maybe the day of coins is a day where everything is free, that there are no prices on a thing. All you need to do is ask, and it is given to you openly and freely. Or maybe those who have great wealth and influence and power exchange places with the lowliest of individuals. And for just a single day, 24 hours till the sun sets, they get to make the decisions. But whatever the case may be, I don't know. Um, we're going to get into the intro and then come back and let's have an open discussion about what the Day of Coins means in your world. Let's get into it. Well, hey, how you doing there, dude? Glad people can be here. Yeah, toss a coin to the DBJ. Anyway, we're gonna have some fun with this one. Again, this is a creative prompt. I try not to do any prior research or overthink anything, but what I love about these prompts, and today being the day of coins, is that we can kind of flavor it any way we want to, whether we want to make this day a day of celebration. Yeah. We can pull from pop culture, The Witcher being the one, and the cool song that has been uh, took over the internet for a short amount of time. Um, what does wealth represent in your world, and maybe flip it on its head. It could be something that maybe might be predicted, and the people around are kind of worried about it, like maybe gathering their ill-gotten gains or their wealth or something around themselves. Maybe the day of coins is kind of the day of greed, the day of the black market. Or it could be something celebratory. It could be where the day of coins is a day where a simple coin, a simple, you know, half penny or something like that can buy the world. I don't know, and we'll get into it. So let's see. For those who don't know, if you come to the show live and it broadcasts on Twitch and YouTube live, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can participate in the show. So we're going to go to our co-hosts who are now in the chat. Yeah, thanks there, Drew. Oh man. Vince says, I recently saw a video about a pre-coin economy. While it is widely believed that societies had some kind of barter economy, it was most likely more of a favor economy in small communities. Yeah, I think maybe we misrepresent barter, because just in real life, like, how many times have you needed to get the favor of someone and they go, well, I don't have anything to give you, but I can give you a favor. I'm sure many societies were there were good hunters, carpenters, harvesters. Hey, if you help me, I'll help you. Just give me a favor later on. And then they tell their family, hey, listen, when Deidre and Amir knock on the door, I promised them a favor, so I got to go. When they call me, I got to go. And they might say, hey, we need to go trap this monster that's been, it's frothing at the mouth and stuff. And you're like, oh, I don't really want to do that, but I did promise to go with you. So, yeah, barter economy might be a thing. Maybe on the day of coins, coins are not accepted as payment. You have to give a favor. That and it could be arcanely enhanced. Like if you promise to do something or a favor or some kind of like service, you have to do it. Like what's I've no oh, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation. It's not Gaius. It's anyway, it could be arcanely enforced, right? If you don't do it, you don't know, you suffer headaches, your nose bleeds or something. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Dojo Breaker, hey, what's going on there? What's up? Dojo Breaker says, I like the concept of a barter economy where you can only trade goods that are in the same sphere, such as metals for metals or animals for animals. And I think there might be even a production element to that. Like, hey, if I give you raw wood, can you give me a chair and table? Right? Like there might be I can see that part of a barter economy too. Like all I've got is I can get you raw metal. If you can get this worked into an item that I need, then can we exchange some other kind of service or something like that? Textiles and things like that, moving things around. Vince says in one of my Dungeon World campaigns, there was a special kind of coin you could toss into water to pay the ferryman, which is then would show up through fog and bring you whatever you want. And there's often the concept of even till today, people toss coins into fountains for desires and wishes and blessings, protections. People often gave coins, if I'm not mistaken, so that they could bless their travels when they traveled over the ocean and such. Maybe the Day of Coins is like, listen, if you don't drop a coin to the God, spirits, protectors of a thing to do a thing, it might get kind of dangerous, right? So there might be like copper pans or bowls or something in front of dwellings, or there shrines along the road where you see people dropping coins. And of course, the PC is like, "Can I steal the coins out of the fountain?" And they're like, "You could try. You might not want to have that." Yeah, and I'm definitely with you there, Vince. Yeah, small communities were more like very big families, and we still do stuff for free when it's close friends or family. This is basically how everything worked before coins became widely used. And if I'm not mistaken, again, I always like to pull these random traits out of my ass. Isn't I've heard that a population of 100 or less kind of operates that way, kind of like a social it's a social function. But if you go beyond 100, it starts you end up being forced to come up with rules and economies and um, structures. Basically, you have to start making laws and formulating a society where if you get 100 or less, you can kind of operate egalitarian, like almost basically a socialist kind of economy where people do things when they can, how they can, before having rules to force people to do something. But I don't know why the number 100 kind of sticks into that, where you have like people breaking off and forming their own factions and things like that. Yep. In Norse paganism, that kind of favor economy with the gods is called the gifting cycle. Dojo Breaker brings that up. That might be another thing on a day of coins. Like where in our minds we normally think of coins and value and wealth, but the day of coins could kind of represent the day of favors, like almost like at the end of the day, you want to be the person who's gifted the most rather than received the most. And unbeknownst to the player characters, NPCs and even like monster type adversaries might come up to the players to offer them things. And the players are like, why would a Minotaur or a Naga offer me anything, right? And then come to find out that, like, no, you're supposed to reciprocate in kind with an even better favor to do for them that they're doing for you or whatever. Or, I don't know, maybe something happens at the end of the day or whatever, or they're punished or cursed or whatever. I don't know. Mm-mm-mm. Druden says, I will link the video also in the Discord is about why the myth of the barter system is problematic. I've seen that come up on my feeds too about how the barter system kind of didn't work that way. But maybe I kind of think that it's um, um, not systemic. It's we end up getting caught up too much with man, my brain just farted. Semantics oftentimes, right? Like we don't walk around with our friends and family going, I've got a hat. If I give you this hat, you'll give me your shoes, right? Instead, it's hey, you know, next month I got to move. Do you mind helping me move if I buy you some pizza, right? And then they're like, yeah, sure. It's some pizza and beer and whatnot. I think it's more semantics than anything, and we nerdy types get a little caught up too much in semantics because we think of barter as truly a I give you three chickens, you give me a cow, rather than oh, one person on the has a chicken farm or whatever, and they're like, hey, I've got eggs for everybody, and someone else says, I've got cows, I'll milk cows for milk. Hey, do you need some milk? Hey, I could use some milk, whatever. And they just exchange it without thinking of what the value is. Like mentally, they're not thinking that one's more valuable than the other. And one season, maybe their chickens just don't have enough eggs, but that doesn't mean the person with the milk doesn't give out the milk and goes, you haven't given me enough eggs this season. It might just be people just wanting to survive and helping each other out. Hey, I've got corn on my crop. Sure, come on by. I'll get you some. You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Vince says, if I remember correctly, the magic number was 300 people max. Yeah, it's something like that where we realize that the largest number of people that can operate without with this air quotes bartered like system without cash, without that people just do things is probably like 300 where after a while when the population gets too big they either have to break up because the intricacies get a little too complicated, or members of those groups are like, okay, we can't just randomly do this. We have to have some people build housing and some people go out hunting and some people get, you know, do the gathering of food and some people be security and then some people teach the kids. And you know what I mean? Like eventually, instead of just random individuals, after a while, it's like, okay, someone's got to make a decision around here. And I think is it 300? Yeah. CA says, if you steal the coins from the well, years of your life are absorbed and converted to the wish for them that they made. Ooh. So if someone wishes, like, if you steal the coins, you get forced to have to complete the wish that the person made that threw the coins in there in the first place. Or something like that. Yeah, you're like, hey, whatever they wished for, or the people that, however many coins you steal, you stole 8 coins. That's 8 years off your life. Sorry. Yeah. Vince says more will usually form another community. Yep, just like animals. Especially predatory animals, they'll start to switch off and make their own communities and separate. And oftentimes, in if I remember, nomadic and tribalistic societies, you could only exist so big, so you had to separate just because you would. There was no way to gather that many resources and still move around and such. So I think that was it. Druden says I had the amount of 200 in my head. It's got to be around there, and I'm sure if we look it up, I bet even the social scientists are probably like hovering around different numbers. I mean, do we really know? We could count. Heck, even neighborhoods that we live in, there's only so many. There's only so much of a larger population till those communities start splitting up, and it's like you live on the other side of the tracks. Oh man. Thomas Anderson says, my friend is working on a plastic coin system to allow anyone to put in the plastic and convert it to these plastic tokens, and either they can extract and use or store as crypto to sell. Yeah, you got to be careful of like people being able to alter economic systems, which we're talking about the day of coins. It's possible that that's we often joke about how role-playing game economic systems are completely broken, like they wouldn't work. uh, the value of gold pieces and how is it you can travel 1,000 miles and the value of that thing is exactly the same, but but that being said, the other fun thing is when players bring back 50,000 gold pieces into a community that's like collectively as everyone, there really isn't a thousand amongst the entire population, and they dump 50,000 into it and kill the economy. Um, the Day of Coins could kind of be a tongue-in-cheek version of that, where um, it's like the day where everyone brings all their wealth into the city, basically skyrocketing the inflation, and the players think, "Oh, I'm just going to throw a gold coin or two on the counter at the, for some drinks and some grog," and the bartender's like, drinks are now 175 gold pieces a piece. Sorry." It I just googled it. It's called Dunbar. Dunbar's number, and is usually 150, but it can be between 150 and 100 and 250. Yeah, Dunbar's number is the largest number of people. If I'm not mistaken, I'm using a seat of pants descriptor for it, but the largest number of individuals that can operate basically without any without any concrete structure, um, and still be a viable society. So they don't need laws, they don't need an economy, they don't need rules and regulations to operate. It's just basically um, uh, um, seat of the pants, social unwritten codes. The smart ones teach the kids because that's just what they do. The strong and healthy ones go out and do all the lifting and churning and breaking and hunting because that's just what they do. The ones who can sing and dance and seem to be artistic are the ones that entertain everyone because that just happens to be what they do. There's no written code, and then I'm sure many of those people have multiple roles and they just pick those multiple roles and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Druden says, I mean, just look at how many people you can handle in your circle of acquaintances, accountances, and I am sure handle well more than 100 people. I don't know. I don't. Hmm. Hmm. I wonder if the Dunbar, side note, I wonder if the Dunbar number has an effect on social media in the sense of like maybe human beings shouldn't have connections, air quotes, connections with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of individuals on any level because our brains can't handle it, and so there are often you hear about people who seem to they mentally break because of how they interact with people on such a wide scale. Hmm. On to someone who needs the amount of plastic that is found in X number of these plastic coins to make specific things. So they never redeem the plastic coins. Instead, they just ask for, say, fly swatters that take 5 coins of plastic to each squeeze them out, and the coins are pulled from the machine's inventory and turned into the fly swatter heads. I see what you're talking very post-human, like the coins represent. Okay. Uh, what what TA is kind of hinting to me is that the coins could represent a raw material, right? So they're minted in the coins, but the coins actually represent a raw material that could be formed if the coins, the raw materials, are given over and enough of it can be used to create something else. So you could have coins, I mean, because we often talk about fantasy here, but it could be science fiction. But in a fantasy type of realm, iron and nickel and tin and aluminum and copper could be coins, but those coins are then used to forge other items. And so someone who has a lot of iron coins could gathering enough iron coins could make yourself a knife or a sword, right? But you need maybe some other materials in there like tin and copper or whatever, other materials in there to really forge it to make it nice. But you might have to trade, i.e., you might have to trade some coins for other things. So some may think from the outside, the players might go, why would someone trade silver for copper? But it's like silver might not be the best metal to forge a sword, which is what they're trying to do, but they need some of this like tin and copper and nickel or other kind of things um, to forge so yeah, the values might be changing and kind of strange or something. I don't know. Yeah, in the future though, with 3D printing might become more like you need feeder material to 3D print something, and so to 3D print an item that's made out of different metals and alloys and plastics and things like that, you need the feeder material, and a social a social economy could be in space. When we go around our own solar system, people carry in their pockets or on their side, they have these like plastic coin chips, and they know that's feeder material, and hey, maybe they're stamped or they're colored or they're coded or something like that. That would be kind of cool. I kind of like that in a way. Dojo Breaker says there's a culture where giant round stones are traded. Villages agree who the giant coins belong to without moving them. Imagine defending a titanic coin symbolizing a bargain with giants. Ooh, we don't. How many in fantasy? Have we ever noticed that all the coins are human sized, even with monsters and creatures that aren't human sized? It's like, couldn't they mint their own coins? And man, giants, maybe giants only like they only their coins are so large and the minerals are so hard to get that like one coin of them is like a manhole cover, sewer cover for like our own modern society. And the PC is like trying to put two coins in their backpack, and it's like super heavy. Like, oh my goodness! Like you said, they can't even move them. It's a city was built around a giant coin that was like it's jammed into the middle of the city, and everyone's like, people come from far and wide to rub the coin, and yeah, no one can move it because it's just so damn heavy. I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. TA says so basically their ideas to have coins as a unit of measure for a given material, but the coin making machines can also instead turn it into something else for the person withdrawing those coins of material. And I could see that being like, maybe there is we'll have to, TA, we'll have to talk about it because I was thinking of a coin of measurement in the far future that's based on mass, volume, and density, so that it. Let me see if I can find something here. All right, so I've got like um a box that's it's glass for a cell phone, but imagine in space and density and mass are very important to take solid objects from Earth into space or out of a gravity well, right? So because it's very sensitive, how much weight and mass you put on a spaceship to go out of gravity well is very important. So what if the things you take into space can only fit into an object this size, and that having multiple objects stacking them together becomes like the object that holds things. Maybe this is better because that's too big. So I have a thing that holds cards, and what if the only things you could take into space have to be able to fit into this, and then this unit that's empty can hold things, and this becomes the value itself. So a person that can take 10 of these stacked together, let's see, right? If I can take two of these stacked together, then I can transport something of value: chocolate, um, ink pens, gold rings, playing cards, um, photographs, a music player, right? And anything that can fit in this has the same value, because then we start to value the holder rather than what's inside of it, so that it all becomes the same value. I know I, I know that sounds kind of strange, but sorry, I went down that rabbit hole. Squirrel. Okay. Then says in the heart of a lengthy campaign, one of the players stole some coins from a well, and later the demon from the well showed up and made a deal with the character because he liked how ruthless he was. Ooh, yeah, like who's to say the day of coins takes on a far more importance. Like, for example, someone drops some coins and you go find and try to give the money back, or someone drops a couple of coins into the cup of someone who's homeless, or someone pays for an illicit activity. uh and on the day of coins, it takes on a more substantial, a greater meaning. Like, the person who drops the coins into the homeless person's cup and keeps walking, maybe there's a celestial that comes and finds them and, like, smacks them on the head with a blessing, like, you did a good thing. Bright lights shine. Here's yours, whereas, like, paying for illicit or vices or something like that, makes the person suffer very harmful consequences or whatever. Let's see. Um TA says the gold thing would be an economy that has an accomplished alchemist could destroy by flooding the market with gold made from lesser materials, from lesser metals. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The day of coin, someone's like, cool beans. I'm gonna take all this lead, transform it. I'll be rich. Maybe they can't do it at any other time except on this day. Um, Although no one ever explains where all those friggin' hundreds of thousands of or coins themselves comes from. Like, who minted all that damn stuff? And no one stole it between the time it was minted and the time it was gathered together. Like, no one tried to steal it along the way. Like, the dragon's got an army and the dragon likes to sleep on the treasure hoard. You can't tell me a couple of people weren't pocketing a few coins here and there along the way. Vince says, yeah, again, cool video from Vsauce on Dunbar's number called The Invention of Friends. Dunbar's number. I'm going to look that up and listen to it today. Cool. Let me put that up here. When I ran a nightclub for a starving community, starving for a nightlife, I had well over 400 people as friends, and this number definitely limited the amount of how much I could be friends with each one of them, to the point of not really being a friend to anyone. And I that's kind of like my thing with, like, social media. Like, maybe we weren't meant to have connections that number in the thousands and tens of thousands, right? Like, when I know you guys know of Nerdarchy, the um tabletop role playing group, guys, Nerdarchy, and I knew them before they were hitting in the double digits of thousands. Now today, I mean, we don't have any connection at all anymore. It's not, and I don't blame them. It's not their fault. I'm not mad at them or anything. But we used to talk all the time. I mean, and they used to invite me to games and things like that, and online and stuff. And I'm from the East Coast, so we had a little bit of connection there. They're from Jersey, and I was from Philly, and there's a tri-state area with Jersey and Delaware and New York up north and stuff. And so now, I mean, I guess I could reach out to them, but I'll just get lost in the sauce. We're not really even friends much anymore. And we were para friends to begin with, but closer. So yeah, maybe there's some kind of limitation like that on, people. Maybe the doing anything for the likes and subscribes mentality, where people go overboard. Oh, there's a crazy thing where there are two brothers that are trying to get so much attention that they're now going to engage in incestual sexual congress with each other on OnlyFans or something, just to get the attention that they crave. Tekashi 6ix9ine was a rap artist. It's the same thing. Got himself in trouble trying to be relevant in the social media platforms and stuff. And Vince says, there's indeed some correlation between the number of real friends most people have, even in the internet age. Even on Facebook, most people don't go over Dunbar's number as number of friends go. Yeah. Druden says, I have over 1,000 friends on Facebook, but I sure interact with far fewer and cannot tell anything about some of those people. So yes, I think our capability to handle social media is limited. And I mean, listen, again, semantics, right? Like, you have to give it a label on, like, let's say Facebook, right? So they call it Facebook friends, but we don't have a sub level of that, right? Like we haven't separated the word friends into other categories. So we have one label that represents all 1000 of yours, right? We don't have sub labels where someone clicks it and goes, well, I am associate, I am a, whatever, right? It's like the people you work with. Some of them are friends, some of them are they're coworkers, they're associates, right? You don't hate them or love them. You're friendly with them, and they work with you. There's even the concept of work wives and work husbands, work relationships, where you and another or a group of other people are very close, but just at work, like you get along really, really well at work and talk about like things you normally wouldn't talk about in the public and whatnot, and say things to each other and like riff on each other and put each other down and make jokes and think, but it's only at work, and after work you're just like, all right, well, we normally wouldn't even know each other out of this kind of thing. Military friendships are kind of like that in a way, like two people that would have never met, are bonded on the field of battle, and they'll always be bonded, but on a personal level they probably wouldn't even get along, you know. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. TA, sorry, just getting into one of your comments because you guys are always popping into brilliance here. Uh, mm-mm. TA says giants would be able to mine out far more gold per day in a gold mine for their coins, so gold would be cheaper to them per volume of gold than humans and their more limited labor. Ooh, the day of coins. How to maybe get it's so difficult to get a deal with the hill giants or the stone giants, right? And anybody that can accomplish that deal might be someone who, by virtue of getting them to help mine the materials, basically makes you rich per um, use of labor from the giants. That like one, because one hill giant or stone giant is going to be worth at least 5 to 10 human beings minimum, right? And so, but the giants, to them, they're just like, it's just regular labor to us, right? It's to them the value is cheap, and if you could make a deal with them, so everyone's like, oh no, yep. Ooh, Druden. Ooh, speaking of coins as resource directly, in Wraith the Oblivion, coins like everything else are made out of souls of the dead. Yeah, Obali? Obali, yes. Let's see. Wraith the Oblivion coins. Obelisk, White Wolf. Let's see. Are there any images of this? Hmm. There's some. Is that the law? The Empire's law, the law is sacred. Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, Skyrim. Oh, that's what those are Skyrim coins. Hmm. Tithe of the Dead. Let me see the wiki. White Wolf wiki. The primary currency of Stygia and Obelisk. Oh, it's too many pop-ups. Is a grayish soul steel disc, approximately 4 inches in diameter, and marked with the seal of Charon or Sharon. Each obelisk is comprised of one soul, no more or less. The value of the obelisk is inherent in the soul itself. An obelisk is a valuable unit of currency, and rates will often have or quarter the coin for trade purposes. Obeli will resemble if left alone, and will reassemble if left alone, and most rates prefer not to think about the division and reassembly of souls. A shard of an obeli is called a drachma. I bet it's got that little throaty thing. Drachma. Drachma. As with many soul steel artifacts, obeli have a tendency to mutter and moan, making them rather disquieting. Ooh. We don't have to show all that. Yeah, I love Wraith the Oblivion, and the fact that on the day of coins, maybe like the first coin you spend becomes marked with the person's blood and what they spend it on the very first thing they spend it on that day kind of represents them for that day. So if you spend it on a meal, um, you can maybe you get your meals for free, but then you become gluttonous or something. Or if you spend your coin on a weapon, violence starts to follow you. And every person that reaches in to get a coin, like they feel a pinch, and that coin is like marked with blood. You don't really know why or whatever. You're like, ow. And you hand the coin over, and the person's like, "You sure you want this?" Yo, no, I'll take a drink. Yeah. And they're like, all right. I mean, the day of coins, you sure? Whatever. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. Asphalt workers. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Ooh, spam the thing. Okay. That's wild. Reminds me of that road construction crew member that was getting disturbed because the new asphalt was literally infused with souls that screamed but lasted longer than normal. Asphalt was cheaper for some reason, but working with it drove the road crews insane from dealing with laying down and running the roller road while flattening machines on the soles and asphalt so they hear the screaming coming from the road as it cures during construction. Yeah. Oh no. Oh man. Maybe the day of coins, a person can tell where that coin passed through, and a simple coin sparks an adventure of sorts, like a restless spirit. Like someone can actually kind of go backwards and tell where whose hands that coin went through, and when a dramatic emotional event happen, it's marked by that coin. And the player characters might have coins on them, no big deal. It's just a couple thousand coins, and every coin they pick out has like a story, or each different coins have a story where just on this day you can see like how it's marked by blood and scars and things like that. Like maybe the coin has evidence of where it's been burned, or it's been sliced by blades or something like that, or like there's a bite mark out of the chip of, the corner of it or something or whatever. Dojo Breaker's like, I made an alchemist specialized in detecting fabricated gold and similar transmutations, like fool's gold. Yep. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, Dojo Breaker says on social media there's the phenomenon of follow for follow. Yeah, where you're expected to follow back, and if you don't, there's a whole big mess with that kind of stuff. Yeah, remember it still happens. Remember the whole Facebook thing, like you must share this and share it out to other people, or else you'll be cursed, and people felt like socially pressured to have to do that and stuff. Mm-mm-mm. Vince says, what about a coin-based power system, like a spirit or something you pay to fight for you? In Final Fantasy, there are certain summons that you can pay to kill your enemies. Ooh, all magic has a cost, and that cost is like, I want to cast a fireball. And, the spirit of flame is like, well, it's going to cost you today. And the wizard's like, I've never had to ask to do that. Fire spirit's like, once a year, you pay up. But yeah, what a great magic system. Even for this, on this day of coins, maybe there's a community where that's how their magic comes about. And it's available to anybody. You got the cash, you can do it. And maybe there's a kind of like social social hierarchy where the levels of it's not just about how much money you have. Like in our today's society, rich people are on a higher plateau than people who don't have enough resources, but those resources pay for other things. Like those literal resources can pay for magic and curses and healing and summonings and such. And so everyone knows that the person with a lot of money or comes into a lot of money can also, air quotes, bring their wishes, and not necessarily a wish, but they can pay for a magic or a spirit or an elemental or a being or something like that. Like, leaving coins by the tree. The dryads of the realm are given the coins, and the dryads are like, you and your family can pass by unmolested for the next year. And the family's like, whoo, Okay, good. Okay, so we've got access to the trade route that the other people don't have because we were able to pay for it. And what a great terrible but great equalizer in a fantasy realm of sorts where you know basic normal human beings are a community is able to gather lots of gold coins and they give it to the Fae and they're just like, oh, it took us all year to get this. Shing, could you just make our community invisible to everybody else? And the Fae's kind of like, puts the coin into the leprechauns put the coin into the thing with their little a rainbow and they're like, okay, we counted the coins. Yeah, we'll make your community invisible. And then the PCs are like, you mean everybody here has the ability to turn invisible? And they're like, oh no, it's not just everybody. All their pets and their belongings, like they just disappear from your view. Like you don't even know where the village is anymore. You're like, damn, that's powerful. Yeah, for a year, it sure is. Yeah, TA says, yeah, it's a kind of gaming the system, often like getting the numbers needed to be monetized by all in the follow for follow. Yep. It's the high tide floats all ships kind of thing. Everybody trying to like do the follow for follow thing. Yeah, very very what was it, Instagram-ish kind of stuff. Hey, YouTube's a little bit like that, little bit. But there's all kinds of things like that. Twitter. Druden says, coins and magic indeed go well together. Both are based on that people project something on the world that is not really inherent in the objects. Time is money. Yeah, yeah. Time is money, friend. Yeah, unuse you. Wow, what a great. Could you imagine could you imagine someone a person who owes someone money on the day of coins, like you actually owe them your life, literally. Ooh, yeah, time is money. Yeah. Ooh, maybe on the day of coins, by the end of the day, the Grim Reaper comes and is like here to collect souls, and you have to pay for more of your life. So people are trying to like get as many coins as they can for the end of their lifespan or something. And if they don't, someone's like, I'm here to collect 100 years. They're like, I've got 3 coins. We need more, more, more. That's only 3 years. I will take 3 from someone in your family. TA says also kind of like Ferengi too, with their exploitation begins in the home. Yeah. Yeah. Jojo's like, exactly. Yeah, maybe in the day of coins, that aristocrats bestow youth. Ooh, bestow youth back on the plebeians to keep them useful 1 more year. Oh shit. Oh man. Their indentured servants and servitudes are like caught in this cycle of needing to try to earn as many coins from the nobility to keep them young to work off their debt, and they want to survive long enough to work the debt off. But in what's essentially happening is they're maintaining their youth and in effect keeping them indentured, their usefulness as being indentured, right? Uh, what a strange thing. Or maybe really older people, sick people, things like that. They can buy back some of their life. And it's strange because the people that live here, why are there there's very few old folks or something, but then on the day of coins you come to find out that everyone's starting to like age very quickly and stuff, and they're gathering their coins and giving it to beings that are like, oh, you want some youth? Bling, there's some more youth. How many coins do you have? 1 2 3 58. Here's 58 more years. Bling, thank you. Yeah, yeah. The nobility's got like, they're swimming in gold. They're gonna live forever. Maybe literally the coins buy them to become stat blocks for your game, right? Oh, all these coins made me a Rakshasa. Yeah, I bought my way. I bought my way into the 9 hells. Hells yeah, I didn't even have to die or nothing. Or the coins that are held by others and worked for links them to the coins that enable someone holding the coins on the day of coins. Yeah, if you pay the by the time the person collects the coins, they have a link all the way back to what was paid for, or the favor, the promise, and they can cash in on it today. They've been waiting 8 months, but I'm going to cash in on it today. Yeah, to tap and drain power from them, or reach through and feed healing to them. Ooh. No wonder the banditry always walks around with at least one copper, one silver, and one gold, in their shoe. Why are they doing that? And then come to find out that their leader can literally, like, air quotes, bless or burn them, like, and not like a blessing spell. Oh, it could be like that, but it could be like, oh no, I hold your life literally in my hands, and you owe me, until next year, you owe me servitude. And the bandits are like, yes, yes, mistress, master, whatever. Juden says, I have to say, I like how in tarot the coins, aka the pentacles, are tied to spiritual things and not really material. Or is it just my interpretation? It could. Well, why not? I mean, on the day of coins, again, maybe you can pay for things that you normally never could. You can pay for the love and admiration of a person who has never paid attention to you. Not necessarily like a love potion, but maybe you could pay to absolve the guilt of someone, or a coin allows someone to remove their fear of the outside world. I want to leave my home and travel to the next city, but it's a week's travel and I've never been away from where I live. This coin, please just let me buy my safe passage or something. And maybe they just become, maybe it's just an emotional thing. It's I wish I was a different person. Boom, throw it into the fountain, and they on their travel away from home become literally a different person. Yeah, that would be awesome. Dojo Breaker says, roll the dice or the magic debt collector comes a knocking. Yeah, tampering with reality again. Someone's got to repair that. Your turn to pay for it. Yeah, tampering with reality. You're gonna have to pay to fix that. But bunch of construction workers trying to retap reality back again. Hey, could you pass me those stars? I gotta nail them up into the sky again. Kind of like what there's an image of that in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. People, trying to construct the universe. Scaffoldings trying to put the planets back together again. Well, although I think that would be rather interesting to have powerful spirits come to Earth, to the prime material plane, and they're there to barter. They're like, I'm coming to collect. I've got my pouch open here to collect, and humanity is just real calm about it. They're like, okay, listen, I'll owe you half. The other half, I don't have it right now. And the spirits are like, okay, we can make a deal, but you owe me. You got to find somebody to owe me. And well, my uncle's got some money. Well, that's between you and them. Mm-mm-mm. Druden says, also my internet handle Drudenfuzz, which I'm sure I'm butchering, literally means witch foot, but it means basically pentagram, and thus is very much also the pentacle in tarot. I did not know that. See, I learn something every day. That's cool. That's awesome. I should bring out my tarot cards and honor you whenever I see your name. TA says, hey, having access, that was the reason. Unknown maze maps of planets in my sci-fi game were so valuable, because if you had a way to get to and back from a planet full of diamonds and no one else knew this path, thus anyone going is stuck on that world, never to return. Well, paying for a map, paying for pathways, paying for access. In fantasy and science fiction, there's always people that are like xenophobic, right? You can't enter into here. But maybe on the day of coins, it's the one day they accept payment for access. You can come into the dark woods as long as you pay. Any other time, we'll murder kill you. But today, we'll take that exchange. And it might be, maybe everyone knows this, like it's a social contract, right? Once a year we allow this to happen. Or maybe it's unconscious. No, the PCs know it's the day of coins, but everyone else is like, even the fey creatures are like, why are we accepting gold for this again? I don't get it. It's not like the leprechauns like, it's not like we buy anything with the gold or we just make rainbows. Vince says the coins in John Wick are also a cool idea, more like a special currency for an underground society of badasses. Yeah, I did a whole video on the analysis of the gold coins in the John Wick movies, where they aren't necessarily, the coins don't have a monetary value. The coins represent a favor value and a value of honor. Because if you ever notice, John Wick pays for with gold coins. The bad guys just pay with cash. Like they put out a thing. You kill this person, $5 million. They don't say kill this person, a bag of coins. But John Wick pays for them because whenever someone does a favor for John Wick, he gives them a gold coin, and that gold coin is like a symbol of excellence and honor. So John Wick pays a, uh, a guy to stitch him up because he got shot, and he gives him a gold coin. Now that person with the gold coin can then take that coin and exchange it for something else, because they know the only reason that person got that gold coin is because they were honorable, they held their promises, their skill is held to a high regard, right? The gold coin represents a barter system, a promissory system, right? I'm going to give you this gold coin if you promise to, like when John Wick paid for drinks when after he fought Common, and they went in the Continental, and the person was giving him drinks, and he slid a gold coin over to the guy, the bartender. It wasn't to pay for the drinks; it was keep the drinks flowing and also walk away. Right? Stay out of our business, walk away, and keep everybody else away from us. And that's what that exchange was. It wasn't a matter of the drinks cost a gold coin. It was do me a solid and just leave us alone. And like, okay, yep. Mm-mm-mm. Thomas Anderson says rental apparently in some ancient languages equates slavery or enslaved. Today it's kind of coming that way. We're turning into renting is becoming a subscription society here in the States. Some rental values are ungodly, out of this world. It's crazy how expensive rent is to rent an apartment and such. Mm-mm-mm. Drew says, I wonder if the society in John Wick was originally a pirate society. The coins give me that feel of piracy. That's actually a really good. Hmm. That's a really good thought about that. Like where the idea of where the assassins came from. Maybe that's where they traveled. They had to travel by boat, and this is what they did. Yeah, Vince says, and maybe the day of coins is the day new coins are given out based on where you are on the assassin's top list. Hell yeah. Yeah. The coins in John Wick vary widely in buying power. He casually uses one to gain access to a bar once, but later he uses one or two coins for huge favors. Yeah, because the coins don't represent money, they actually represent favors. So yes, gold has a value, but that's not how they were spent in the John Wick world. They were spent as favors. And that favor could be instant, right? Like, let me walk in the door. Or that favor could be extend out for generations, right? That favor could be, I'm giving you a gold coin that when I call on you, you're there, right? Yeah, exactly, Vince. Yeah. Yeah. Some said they are worth roughly $1,000, but the truth is, if you have to ask how much they are worth, they are not for you. That's exactly why they don't have a value. If you have to ask, that's why you never ask for a coin. That's why they're given. They're not asked for. Um, yeah, I've got dead bodies in my house. There's 12 dead bodies. Here's 12 coins. You got it, boss. Right? It's the okay. We're going to make sure it's perfectly clean. Yep. In the biggest countries, each have this giant monstrous dog in the basement that as long as they feed it, it guards. But don't feed it and it will kill and eat them. That giant monstrous dog is the military industrial complex, and the feeding is in oh shit. And oh, there it is. The feeding is in starting wars from them to earn from. Ooh, if any country stops feeding it war, then to keep it fed, the country must then feed it the war on its own citizens through pacification. That's in The Art of War, the book, the Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It talks about the fact that exactly what you said. You have to feed an army, and small armies aren't enough to defend your country, but too large, and they'll end up feeding upon your own population. And you almost have to use an army, a military, to feed on other things. Like you said, it's like a dog. Like you have to feed it and send it out, because if you don't, and they get restless and either lower in value and ability, or they start feeding upon their own population. I it's in The Art of War, which I actually decided to read one time, and I was just like, I don't know what the hell I was doing. But yep. Vince says, I personally love the idea of having alternate currencies that are only used for specific things. I'm not stealing. I listen, I didn't come up with this idea, but I think it's great. For those of you who remember Electrum pieces were a mix of silver and gold in reality, and in Dungeons and Dragons, they Electrum pieces don't exist in fifth edition. I don't even know when they stopped existing, but I know in AD&D there were Electrum pieces, and it broke the base 10 system. And Electrum pieces, I was listening, and it's been a long time, but I remember listening to a video where someone was saying Electrum pieces might be black market coins, that whenever you want to pay for something, pay for a vice, something illicit, an assassination. Again, you want to go into the red light district of a city, you paid in Electrum. When you went into a legitimate part of town, but you wanted to get a little frisky, you handed over an Electrum piece, and that person knew, like, oh, you don't want to go to you're asking for a restaurant. Well, there's a place that has many different flavors. I can get that for you, right? And that a certain type of coinage or whatever was used to pay for certain activities and stuff. So yeah, let's get into what you guys have to say. Then I got to get out of here. I'll say, Vince says, what about a special currency used only for magic items, like pearls or magic coins that are used for making new magic items? I could see that. If you wanted to have magic stores, I don't like the idea of like truly magic stores unless they're like little small trinkets. But if you wanted to have magic item stores in your world, you could say, oh yeah, you can buy magic items, but you better find the right coinage. It's like, well, what coins are they? I don't know. You're gonna have to find out. Yeah, Deadman said Jude and Fuzz full miss. I know I'm butchering pronunciation. It's a German word for pentagram. You have not played much WoW. Yeah, half my bases are usually filled with some weird currencies for all kinds of things. I have not played it. I missed the whole MMO. My geekdom isn't as deep as you guys think it is. It's wow. Yeah. Yeah, German word for pentagram. Cool. Well, thanks, Penta. Drew says, and the B, that's not a B. I don't know. It's basically the German letter that combined the S and Z, but is often replaced with two S in modern spelling. See, I can't. I mean, I could type it, but I don't. I would have to find my special characters. Ooh, hmm. You're making me think of something already. Dealing with language. Uh, But yeah, Vince says, I think magic stores could be awesome as long as they are super rare, special, and not in every town. And having a special currency for magic items would change the economy in D&D drastically. It sure would, because then you could control the rarity of it. Would be double rarity, right? Like, first, how rare is the coinage, whether they are coins or some valuable resource, and then the rarity of being able to find a place to spend it to go get the thing. You it's I think TA and I had a conversation about this when it comes to the far future and like 3D printing. Like it's cool that Star Trek has Earl Grey hot and you just pull the hot tea out of the machine. But what if you need feeder material? What if it's being monitored? What if the machine can only print so many things? How long does it take to print it? Maybe it can't print dangerous items and illegal items or illicit items or something like that, or restricted items. So um, it goes from instantly create what you want to, ooh, now I got to find the thing, to get the thing, to give it a thing, to do a thing. And magic stores could be exactly that same way. You want to limit it? Yeah, you got to find the coinage, get the coins. Maybe they're very ancient, they're not made anymore. Maybe they were carved from minted mage stones or something. I don't know, right? And then you got to find the store. The store's got to, where's the store at? It's hidden away. Maybe it's magic. Maybe you got to use the coins that lead you to the store. The store finds you. Then it's like, well, how much does it cost? Well, it's going to at least be 5 times what you got in your hand. Damn it! You guys are giving me a language lesson. It's called an ezot. I sharp. I'm not going to be able. I I see what you're saying, but I literally see it, and it's difficult for me to hear it in my head unless I spend a little bit of time with it. But in a cyberpunk setting, the coins could be infused with code, thus could be carrying a virus or worm that attaches to the brain of the victim too. Yep, it's simply spelled like a double S. Oh, okay. I get it. I didn't get it at first. I get it now. I'm currently watching an Isaki anime where protagonist became a vending machine and had an unlimited storage of items as long as he gets paid regularly, and he got stronger the more money he got. Oh shoot. Coins carved from dragon teeth, and you happen to find a dragon dentist in his home. It was taken. These coins were taken from a dead dragon. And come to find out, there's a dragon in a white lab coat and a monocle, going like, "No, it was a dragon with a toothache. I just took the toothache out and figured I'd make some money on the side." Oh no! Like the elf that wanted to become a dentist. You know what a Yeah, I like the idea. Kind of. What about a magic item that gives out one use items in exchange for money? Well, I like one use ciphers are I think a an idea you can steal. Numenera cipher system has ciphers. Ciphers are one-use items, and players are only allowed to carry so many of those one-use items. And having one-use items is a great economy to use because you can hand out very powerful magic items, but it doesn't matter. You can only use it once. I mean, it would be like giving a player character a nuke, right? Sure, will a nuke literally nuke part of your setting? Absolutely. Can they only do it once? Yep. So what are they going to do with it, right? Sure, maybe later on in your game world, you literally put a giant crater in your on your game world map, and your players did it, right? I mean, but a magic item could be instantly teleport one thing, mind control one person, um, double someone's strength once, right? All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Cipher vending machines. Semi-intelligent. That's awesome. Yeah. Vending machine idea sounds like one of the SCPs that can dispense literally anything you ask for, but there are always consequences for using. SCP. You just made me think of SCP, somebody else's problem. SCP fields. I forget where that came from. Werewolf the Apocalypse also had one-use magic items, but don't ask me what they were called. I can't remember. Yeah, they were like totemic items that were given by spirits. I can't remember them either. Yeah, spirits would drop like feathers or stones or seeds or pearls, things of that nature. Fetishes. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Fetishes were dropped by spirits, or you could ask them, the spirits, and they would leave behind a fetish. Going back to the day of ravens, a raven would fly by and land or something, and then it would be a black feather that Garou, that werewolf, could then take that feather, maybe tie it in their hair or put it on something, and then they could take that feather and throw it to the ground, and maybe it makes a hut or it opens up a portal or whatever, right? Says, no, the fetishes were the permanent ones. Oh, they weren't? Secure, Contain, Protect Foundation, SCP Foundation. Oh, yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, later tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is my interview with Doug Burton. Um, Let me go ahead and share this out. Let's see. I think I have. Yep. All right. All right. So it's going to be my interview, and we're going to talk about the heroine's labyrinth. And as a you guys are regulars, so you already know. But the heroine's labyrinth is in opposition to the hero's journey, and we're going to talk about using that, not using it, but breaking down some sci-fi and fantasy, and then we already talked about this in an email thread, but we're talking about using it as a method of encounter creation that's in opposition to or counter to the hero's journey. So we know what rising action is. You know, we know the 3-act structure. We know the 5-room dungeon. We know random encounters. But I wonder if there's a way to turn the heroine's labyrinth into the same thing, but for role playing games. And so we're going to have that. And he used to role play quite a bit. So it's not like I'm talking to an author that doesn't know what role playing games are. He's been on Heath's Geek First, and they talk about role playing games all the time. So we're going to try to do that. Ask some weird questions for me. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm Mr. Seat of the Pants. So yeah. Drew says, I will try to make it, but it's midnight for me. We'll have to set an alarm. Don't hesitate now to drop me a line on anything, like any of the social medias or comment section or something, to go question, boom, hey, could you tell me about blah 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 blah, or what does it mean for this? Let me see if I can go to his website right now, because he says he updated it. And Heroine's Labyrinth. Let's see if I go to the website and boop, boop, boop. I wish I could just drop these things in, but I use a very simple system. And let's see, he's updated it. Heroine's Labyrinth, an alternative to the hero's journey. The labyrinth defined, the labyrinth navigated, the labyrinth solved. And yeah, he did update it. Yep. Yeah, he did update it. So yeah, and the part 1 is the labyrinth and the culture truths, the masked minotaur, the patriarchal paradox, the call to adventure, and of course entering the labyrinth. And then we go into part 2 with the cult of deception, the 3 chambers, the chamber guardians, beast as ally, sympathy for the other, the tradition breaker, the broken truce, the poisoned apple, the unmasking the minotaur, and then lastly, home is in part 3. The labyrinth solved is home as battleground, the shield maiden moment, slaying the minotaur, atonement with self, and master of the labyrinth. And I'm going to see if we can narrow all this down to something a little bit more presentable for like a role playing concept. Is there a way to, like, can we tell a story about this? Drew says Heath made multiple long videos about it. Quite interesting stuff. As a matter of fact, just this, what was it, Tuesday? They broke up Star Wars, and how the Star Wars A New Hope, Princess Leia is in the part 3 of the Labyrinth Solved before we meet Luke. So the blockade run, being captured by Vader, sending R2 and C3P, well, R2 with C3PO following along to send them with the messages and stuff. It's all of that is the end of her arc, of her labyrinth, and she continues her arc into the movie, where we also have the hero's journey, Luke, the hero's journey, and then we even have R2D2, who has his own mini hero's journey. So it was pretty cool. Um, even though I am not sure if it is like the monomyth, mostly self-deception, similar to conspiracy theories, patterns people find in things but are not really there in reality. It could be. I mean, listen, we're human beings. We are pattern solving, pattern finding machines, right? So it's possible that way, but and I'm not making this up. This is from him. Um, yeah, Vince has asked how you can use the Heroine's Labyrinth to make better RPG campaigns. Hell's yeah. Oh, hell yeah. But his point, and I think the reason about the monomyth thing is, if our brains are finding a pattern, even though technically we're not making one, then why is it that we're finding that pattern in the first place? Right? Like, the monomyth is a pattern because we keep establishing that pattern, and then we fall into the arc of making those patterns because our brains, we find comfort in the pattern itself, right? So it's possible, like, during one of the Heath's shows, they were mentioning that early writing of heroes' journeys and labyrinths actually didn't follow the pattern. But once we started talking about the pattern, it became recognized that we started making the pattern, if that makes sense, right? It was a chicken and an egg. It's like, we see a pattern. Well, there really wasn't a pattern, but we feel comfortable with the pattern. Let's write as if there's a pattern. It's really weird, but yeah, there's a bit of chicken and egg with it. So yeah, Drew. There's quite a bit, and I definitely want to see how we can make better RPG campaigns, um, especially like this part one, like using, like, is the masked minotaur a different way of having like an insidious evil? And what about this culture truce and paradox thing? Now I have my own ideas, but I'm going to talk to him, and we'll break it down. And I'm not going to soft glove it. I mean, I don't have any loyalty to the gentleman, but I love storytelling, and I find that what he's created here, or discovered, is 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 something that he's found a pattern. And some will say, well, this is just a retelling of the hero's journey, but just slightly different, which I wouldn't say that's not true. Um, but there are elements of it, like, oh well, I really do see that pattern, right? Like, I'm not fighting against it. I'm like, I kind of see the pattern too. Not necessarily. Drew's like, humans are just terrible. They're just terrible design. I don't know if I agree with that. I think for survival, pattern recognition is how we survived, right? Uh, I breaking pattern recognition is like how we break out of things like stereotypes, um, all the isms where we hate each other for some stupid reason because we find patterns. We fear things because of patterns as well, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, pattern recognition is a safety mechanism. Imagine if every time we saw a small flame, we didn't understand that it was harmful. When we see flames of any size as a grown adult, we know the pattern. Okay, fire burns, burning fire. Okay, dangerous, harmful. And then there's other people. Well, oh, there was a line. Let me see if I can find the name of this book. It was on fire. There it is. Share this tab instead. Um, let's see if I can find the name of this book. Some people don't recognize that. There's a book with the title, It was on fire when I lay down on it. And it came from a quote when fire department came to a person's house. My mom had me read this, something like that. And it's a bunch of these really weird, strange stories that people have. And yeah, basically the author of All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And it was a follow-up book. And the fire department was trying to find out how this man's house caught on fire. And he's like, well, my bed caught on fire and then the rest of the house. And they're like, and they're trying to decipher it. And they were like, well, where did the fire start? And they're like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it started in my bed. It was on fire when I lay down on it. And it's just like, wait, what? Squirrels recognize patterns of the seasons, thus they survive winters each time from following a pattern or plan. Yep, hells yeah. Stories get written with patterns, sure, but the pattern is often just projection and not something that are like in following a pattern or plan. Stories get written with patterns, sure, but the pattern is often just projection and not something that is like in science, actually part of reality. Well, I would say that we, I'm both agreeing and disagreeing with you in the sense of like, if I'm writing a story, I may unconsciously fall into a pattern of writing a certain way, a hero's journey, right? Because it's a pattern that's in my brain that I'm not breaking, and I'm doing it unconsciously, and I'm trying to do a hero's journey. Whereas the heroine's labyrinth, even though it's another pattern, at least it's different, right? So maybe we need more of these things. Maybe we need more different patterns. And if we have a number of these different patterns, then we end up getting to see different things. Drew says, that is why I say it is akin to conspiracy theory, a pattern that exists only in the people who want to see it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Sure, why not? Although if you see certain scripts and books and stuff, they might be there. You know what I mean? Like, I would say that maybe there really is a reason why we see a lot of this stuff. You know, because we do it. We created our own pattern and then we get to it. So anyway, yep. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great one. I will see thee later. I don't even remember what tomorrow's going to be, but it's up on the website. I mean, it's up on the YouTube channel, so whatever. And I think it might even pop up on Twitch. So you guys have a great one. I'll see you later. I got to get out of here. Peace.